We really are in the best timeline. Hey guys. Well, we might be saved. Hi-Fi Rush seems to be getting revived. I might be tweaking a bit too early here, seeing as I'm writing this mere hours after hearing the news on Twitter, but the franchise might not be dead as we thought. I had this video idea of writing a hypothetical DLC pitch for each of the characters' movesets for the original Hi-Fi Rush, but then, well, you know what happened. And I put it away to never work on it again. Then the franchise got revived, and I immediately went to type out this script. If you've watched my Hi-Fi Rush analysis, you'll know that I've played through the game 10 full times now. I have 160 hours in the game, which is more than most people, I feel. I've gotten every achievement on Steam, twice after the arcade update came out, and at this point, there's nothing left for me to really learn. The best I can do to spice up the game is to beat it without any upgrades, which I've already partially done, or beat the game without taking damage. Basically, I've conquered Hi-Fi Rush to the best of my ability. There's not much left for me to do. I like to think I'm near the top level of play when it comes to Chai and his moveset, since there's not a lot of advanced tech to learn. I already showed off some of it in my retrospective, and I've applied it to regular gameplay now. I've reached the skill ceiling and there's little that excites me gameplay-wise anymore. But there's one thing that will. Multiple, playable characters. Being able to play as Peppermint, Macaron, or Korsica would give this game hundreds of hours of new content, letting players dig into these systems and pick their favorites. Chai's good for a beginner to pick up, but if you play as him enough, you'll eventually get bored of what he has to offer. He ain't no Dante, he ain't no Bayonetta, and he ain't no Raiden. Which is fine, he doesn't have to be. But with that limited moveset, it means that there's not much player expression left for someone like me. But the other characters? They could breathe life into the sequel. Have alternate playstyles or approaches to combat that differ from Chai. Have unique mechanics exclusive to each character. Or maybe fiddle with the game's hidden stats to further mix up the characters. I apologize if, during my rambling, I come across as an armchair game dev, but honestly there's no other way I see of discussing this, if there is even another way. I am not a game developer, and I will go on record saying that I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing or saying half the time during these videos if that wasn't obvious enough already. So, understand that if Tango can't or won't do any of the things I suggest in this video, I will understand, even if it kind of sucks. Plus, you know, they kind of have to watch it first, and there's a 1 in a million chance of that happening. There's a lot that I don't know, and there's a lot that I can't know. I'm not in cahoots with Tango, John Johannes, Shinji Mikami, nobody. And I'm fully aware that there's a lot of things that go into these decisions, and it isn't just put the character model in the game or simple stuff like that. This is just the only way that I know that I can interact with the game and potentially its developers. I want to have an impact on the game and the sequel, and I want it to be better. The hypothetical sequel won't be as good if Chai gets copy-pasted into it with no changes. I need the extra depth. Now with that preamble out of the way, let the rambling begin. So first things first, Chai. How would he work if he wasn't the controllable character? Well, I think that can be answered by separating him into two distinct sort of modes. Out of combat is everything regarding exploration around the levels, and in combat is everything that happens in arena battles. Out of combat, I have one idea that I think could work. While exploring around as, say, Peppermint for example, much like the barrier she occasionally has to shoot, Chai could instead have his summon act as the magnet grab minigame. Similar to how it works in the current game now, Chai can be summoned in a similar fashion to, say, Peppermint or Macaron, and lock onto a magnet. Once you let go of the summon button, Chai magnets both you and himself across the gap and up the building or wherever you summon him. I personally think that it would be good to keep the magnet with Chai, as that's one of the special tools unique to his arm. As for combat, I've got two ideas. Keeping with the magnet idea from earlier, Chai can maybe have his summon in a battle or be a magnet grab that brings enemies closer to the player or bring the player closer to the enemies. The latter I'm admittedly against, since I feel like it could potentially take control away from you, and I'm strictly against that idea. If you were to accidentally hit the button or use it at the wrong time, you would be defenseless and you could take damage with no way to defend yourself. The other idea I have is that when you summon Chai out, you can maybe hold down the summon button or just make his default attack be a random combo in his repertoire. At least any random ground combo. It could be Humbuckler, Breakdown, Tune-Up, Pickup Crash, you name it. Only thing I could see with this is that having another person doing combos at the same time, even if it's just one, could potentially break the game's balance in two. If you guys have any other ideas for Chai or the others, feel free to say so in the comments. Now then, on to the main event. Peppermint is interesting. Of the three I'm going to discuss here, Peppermint has potentially the highest volume of moves available to her. Taking cues from other stylish action games, I can see Peppermint switching between four main weapons. She's got her twin pistols obviously, her giant cannon or rocket launcher, not sure, and lastly her shotgun. How is she going to use them in gameplay? Simple. Weapon switching. Make that one of her unique gameplay aspects. Replace Chai's magnet grab input with her weapon switching mid-combat. Her guns can help deal with all barriers the same way that you deal with stun gauges in the game already. Her bullets can just effortlessly take out barriers like they're nothing, reducing time needed before you can combo those enemies. With that gunplay style in mind, there's a few characters I can think of, but one in particular I have in mind for now to pull from. Lady from DMC4. I'm not going to exclusively pull from Lady's move list, believe me, but Lady probably has the most versatile move list to pull from and use as reference points. Lady's moveset has the exact same setup as Peppermint hypothetically does. Twin pistols for mid-range, a giant cannon / rocket launcher for big damage, and a shotgun for close range. Lady uses grenades and a bayonet at the end of her rocket launcher as well, but Peppermint doesn't need those as I've got an alternate solution I'll discuss shortly. Peppermint's pistol should be her longest range option for those who want to play a distance-based playstyle. Her standard blaster attacks could act as simple projectiles that have a low chance of stun gauge buildup. I think her combo should either focus on singular enemies or have a more wide range of attacks and AoE potential. It's up to you, as there are multiple avenues to go down. For singular targets, I think using something like a two-hand or trigger-happy equivalent could be a good combo ender, as it would allow enemies to be juggled in midair or in place with her pistols. Her aerial combos could maybe have one similar to Rainstorm in DMC, maybe being Peppermint's replacement for Chai's Helmbreaker. Secondly, there's also some of Rei's moves from Onechanbara Origin. Now, I get it. Haha, funny boob game. It's kind of a joke on my channel that I like this sort of stuff. But genuinely, give Onechanbara Origin a chance. As stupid as it is, the game's got some good combat. All three playable characters have some really cool stuff that you can do with them. Rei, the final unlockable character, is no exception. Many of her attacks admittedly prioritize using her shotgun over her pistols, but we can still work with what we've got. A single target combo has Rei using a kick and then spamming shots at an enemy with her pistols. If she's in bloody mode, the finisher has Rei sliding forward and shooting her shotgun upward at an enemy, dealing extra damage. That could be a start. Peppermint's AoE, however, could work the same way that Rei's do too. Primarily a large sweeping attack. One of my favorite moves from Origin has Rei sweeping with a leg kick before spraying and praying with her SMGs in a 180-degree radius in front of her. She does that 4 times before ending her sweep with a 360-degree spin. This attack works as an AoE, and it also allows Peppermint some movement capabilities, since the sweep gives her forward momentum while also protecting herself. Just lower the damage value and keep it exclusive to Peppermint's pistols, and I think she's good there. Peppermint's cannon maybe should be a singular attack like it is in the game now. Either you press a particular button input to use it after a certain amount of time, or you can just charge it up. Assault Spy's Amelia has a move also similar to that, where you need to be in high voltage in order to use it. There's also Lady's fully charged Kalina Ann, or Rei's BFC. Or you could potentially turn her cannon into a special attack for Peppermint, similar to Chai's special attacks. I could see a Mega Laser style move acting as a special attack. It'd be pretty cool. Peppermint's shotgun could act as a primary damage dealing machine, and the first order of business to me is giving her a gun stinger. Both Lady and Dante have a move where they charge forward with their shotguns, much like a stinger, and shoot them. A good gap closer as well as moderate to high damage up close. I wouldn't give Peppermint all the extra mobility that Lady or Dante gets, since I don't think it's entirely needed and might be a bit much for Peppermint's mobility. As for combos, there aren't many that I found. The best I got is Rei's default combo from Origin, which is just stands still and unloads on an enemy while stationary. That's the best I got. Lady doesn't have many other ones. Best she's got is the move Double Barrels, where she goes all John Woo and swings her shotgun around like gunchucks to attack all around her. Lady's main mechanic is the charge, which could work in Hi-Fi Rush, but that potentially requires stationary play, which I'm not entirely sure could work all the time. But it is a thought. So what's last on the list for Peppermint? Easy. Kicks. That fourth attack style that Peppermint could have revolves around kicks. Why kicks specifically? Well, she's got that robot leg, could put it to good use. Her ground jam combo has her drill kicking an enemy into the air, and her parry counter also kicks into an enemy before unloading on them with her guns. It fits, I feel. As for what moves to give her, there's one move that I've always enjoyed using.
Now we're talking! Stimulating enough? Let's roll!
Rising Sun. This move has it all. High single target damage with a small amount of AoE capability, plus it looks badass to boot. Giving that to Peppermint would be a dream come true. Same goes to the Beowulf combo B, that Feed of Fury kind of attack. Or you could just use Dante's Pyromania attack as a basis for an attack too. Secondly, there's another certain devil that I like to take cues from. Trish. Her moveset in DMC4 with her electric bare knuckle could work wonders for Peppermint, especially since both characters have a similar motif, at least in regards to element. As for Trish's moveset, her most desirable one for me would have to go to her electrical dance combo, turning Trish into a spinning dance of death with her electric helicopter kicks. It would be so cool, but I could imagine that move not fitting in with the rhythm aesthetic, so who knows if it could work. Also, as an addendum, I think it would be pretty funny if Peppermint used her guns as a double jump. That'd be kind of funny. I think that does it for Peppermint. Now onto the weird one of the bunch. Macaron is a difficult and an odd one. If you watched my Hi-Fi Rush video, you'll know that he's my least favorite of the three summons, and has the least amount of utility. Plus, admittedly, of the three party members, Macaron is the one that I'm the least interested in playing. Sorry buddy, you mean well, but you kinda suck. And there aren't many references I can pull to really use as a reference guide. Regardless, I'll see what I can work with here. Judging from Macaron's gameplay in the original, there's only one thing I see working here. Pure punches. A pure melee brawler. Admittedly, he has the least amount of depth compared to the others, even Chai I'd argue, but it's still something. What can we use then? Well, first, I'll start with the basics. For starting punch combos, I could see DMC Dante working as a reference point with Eric's. Slower, more unrefined punches, similar to how Macaron is in-game, learning the ropes as it were. DMC Dante has a few moves that can be used. His punch combos aren't massive, but he's got about 3 of them. All 3 are short and simple combos that deal a heavy amount of damage, fitting for Macaron's playstyle. Same goes for Macaron's launcher attack. He can use any of the launchers from Dante's arsenal, from an uppercut in the reboot to the various charging uppercuts or real impact. A good mash combo that could work for Macaron is one of my favorite attacks ever. The Dempsey roll. My favorite attack in all of anime probably, and Macaron should have it too. Macaron could have such a large amount of respect for me if he's able to pull that off. plus it could probably fit quite well with a rhythmic set of inputs too. Originally I was going to suggest that Macaron have a sort of range option to make up for his low mobility, but then that might make him a little too powerful since you could just spam it from a distance. So instead I'm opting to give him a ranged ground fissure type special attack, akin to Saya's ground fissure ecstasy combination in Onechanbara Z2 Chaos. Other than that though, I can't think of much else. There aren't many essential combos I can think of other than maybe a JoJo reference style combo. Maybe give him a Royal Guard-like mechanic? Maybe Macaron can have his gauntlets glow the more he parries, and if you get multiple perfect parries in a row, you can unleash that energy into an attack that does a ton of damage. That could be something to think of. Or you can have it work similar to Saki from Z2 Chaos, where you can cycle between maybe 5 different levels of charge, and unleash it if you time things just right and set up your charge perfectly. The only other thing I can think of giving him is some sort of massive damaging AoE for one of his special attacks, something akin to Amelia's Electric Power Geyser or Virgil's Hell on Earth. Maybe give him a doppelganger-like special attack, or a special attack that has Cinnamon matches every move. Cinnamon can already do some pretty cool helicopter kicks, so who's to say he can't match Macaron's movements? Other than that though, that's about it. Sorry Mac, you don't really have much I can think of. Our final entrant, on the other hand, Korsica's the best, and I'm going to be giving her the treatment she rightly deserves. I may have favoritism here, but I have a right to it. Korsica is probably the character who, in my eyes, is the closest to Chai in terms of enjoyment. I may have gotten bored of Chai's playstyle a little bit, but he's still quite fun, being this jack-of-all-trades. I think out of the 3 playable characters here, she has the potential to be the closest to that jack-of-all-trades mark. She certainly has the toolkit and the best references to make it work. Plus I'd argue from a lore standpoint in-game, Korsica's the most dependable or capable out of the entire party. So I'm giving her the most depth. First off, Korsica should also have weapon switching between her twin batons and her bow staff. 2 weapons should be enough depth for her, as I think that with the variety of moves available to her, she can easily rival Chai in terms of enjoyment. Starting off with her batons, one combo that comes to mind that could work is Virgil's Mirage Edge combo from DMC5. I get that there's swords that he's using, but the combo could easily be translated into batons. Constant slashes that move her forward, ending with a slam of her weapons. That could be cool. While on that train of thought, Aya from Onechanbara has a few attack strings that might work too. Her base combo with her twin swords from Origin is a simple button masher in that game, but I could easily see something working here too. Uses both swords frequently, spinning around, good single target damage, it could be something. Same with her alternate main combo, which starts with a roundhouse kick into a myriad of sword slashes. Using tornadoes or wind gusts could also be a unique way to bring projectiles into Korsica's moveset. With that in mind, I have just the character to use, Saki from Onechanbara. In Origin, one of her ecstasy combos involves her using her sword to launch energy projectiles at an enemy. Z2 Chaos also has a similar set of attacks with Saki, except instead of being able to shoot projectiles on command, though you can do that in Z2 Chaos, it happens at the end of her combo string. Either or could work, but I feel like Origin's implementation might be a bit better unless if I can think of something else. Speaking of Z2 Chaos, Aya's default combo in that game once again has her spinning around as she displays a flurry of strikes at zombies. The second to last part of the combo certainly fits more into a sword-like weapon, but you can either alternate it or remove it entirely. The final blow, however, a forward-like thrust attack, could potentially work with Korsica. If you want something more grounded in reality, you could simply go and use some more reserved attacks, like the dual blade demon dance from Monster Hunter. It's a bit less exaggerated in its depiction, I would argue. The move is very fast, hits multiple times, and I think could work with Korsica. Only downside is that you can't cancel it, at least in Monster Hunter. Off the top of my head, that's about everything I can think of for her batons. But as for Korsica's bow staff, there's actually quite a lot of influences I can call from. Jade's ultimate combo from Beyond Good and Evil, bet you didn't think I pulled that one out, could work as something. Simple and straightforward, and giving Korsica forward momentum. Metal Gear Rising could also work, with Mistral's weapon acting as a base. Genuinely, you could probably use any of the combos from Mistral's moveset as a basis for one or multiple of Korsica's moves. One I'm particularly fond of is the move where Raiden spins to win, giving Korsica AoE and movement in one. But genuinely, almost any of Mistral's moves could work for Korsica in my eyes. DMC5 could work too. Dante's base combos with the polearm version of King Cerberus could act as beginner combos. Combos C and D could potentially be the first ones available to you. There's a 3 to 4 hit combo, and the other could be an early mash combo. Another option could be using Dante's Hot Stuff combo, where he swings the polearm forward before launching flames. Replace the flames with Korsica's Wind, and that could work. There's also the King Slayer attack, which might work in regards to giving Korsica more AoE capability. I also want to give her more movement, and could use Dante's Rock Back ability from King Cerberus. Similar to the hypothetical Gunstinger move that Peppermint has, Korsica could have this as a gap closer of some sort. A Helmbreaker style move could also work in the form of Pole Play, a downward thrust-like attack that has Dante spinning around on it like a stripper. Personally, I remove the spinning part and just have that downward thrust, and that should be good enough. A move that could also work could be implementing the move Percussion from DMC5 into Korsica's arsenal, having her slam her batons or staff into the ground before 5 tornadoes appear and fling themselves in a pentagon-like shape around Korsica. The tornado shouldn't deal damage, but it could be a means to give Korsica's weapon some stunning properties as she does in the original game. Last handful of attacks for Korsica I can think of bring us back to Onichembara. Kagura's main attack with her boomerang blades in Z2 Chaos have her swinging them around in the air and on the ground. That gave me an idea for something similar to that. Korsica is already acrobatic, so I could see her being able to spin around like that during gameplay. Maybe it could give her the ability to summon tornadoes or gusts of wind, too. Finally, back to Origin. Saki's World Slash combo, as it's known, was a combo that I once again could envision Korsica adopting into her own. Starting with a kick or thrust forward could be the beginning of the combo string, before having her spin around and cover distance with a moderate amount of AoE. Second to that could also be using Saki's main combo from Origin as a base too. The swings are wide enough that I could see them being similar to a blunt weapon type of attack. And the final set of swings just turn her into a human blender. As for any other special attacks, well, if you want, you could maybe make a dream come true and give her a Judgment Cut End style attack. I get that Korsica has blunt weapons and not much else, but it's worth a shot to try and pitch it. And while I'm at it, it would also be a dream come true if you give the cast an all-out attack style special move that's universal across all characters. It would be so awesome to have an ability on demand to just go to town the same way that the cast went to town on Kale at the end of the campaign in the original game. And with that, I think that's about the essentials I can think of for each of these characters. I didn't bring up Cinnamon since I'm not too keen on playing as him, and I don't entirely see a potential kit to work with him, so you're stuck with these 3. Thank you for watching, and I hope you all enjoyed. Please share this video around since I want discussion of this to spread. I hope it once again maybe reaches the developers so maybe a seed can be planted, but who knows. I wish all at Tango good health, and good luck with the sequel. Please let it happen.
Wait, snap out of what?
Chai, you totally got caught by Korsica.
You mean